Joining us now from San Francisco is CBS News aviation and safety expert, Captain Sully Sullenberger. Sully, take what we know so far right now and put it in perspective. What do things look like to you?
An intentional act is one of many possible causes still on the table. In many walks of life, it's just human nature to shoot from the hip or jump to conclusions. But in safety critical domains like aviation, like medicine, and some others, it's the evidence, facts that we must rely upon to reach conclusions. And it's following the facts, following the truth wherever it leads us, that helps us eventually to solve even the deepest mysteries.
So in this, as you look at it, there's nothing that suggests in the fact pattern so far, and we don't have much to go on, but that suggests this would be terrorism over just a crazy accident that happened while the plane was in cruise.
You know, in the light of recent events, certainly in that part of the world and others, it's natural, it's human nature to think of terrorism as in the forefront. But there have been, even though a level flight in cruise is statistically the safest portion of the flight, accidents in the cruise portion of the flight, including, of course, Air France 447 over the South Atlantic in June 2009, and in climb near cruise altitude, Air Asia Flight 8501 just recently. So there are possible reasons that an airplane in cruise could come into grief.
And based on what you've now seen, though, these reports, the fault messages, reports about the radar, what do those signals tell you about some of the possible outcomes?
Well, of course, we will know a lot more once aircraft wreckage has been recovered and examined. We'll know much more, of course, when the digital flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder are recovered and analyzed, hopefully soon. But what we can say right now is that whatever the triggering event was, it was not sufficient to immediately destroy the entire airplane. That for several minutes, conditions allowed electrical power to still be supplied to certain systems in the airplane that could detect faults and automatically transmit those bits of information to the ground.
And what was transmitted to the ground, there's talk of fire and smoke. Does that give you any indication about what might have happened?
Well, it suggests that there was some catastrophic event, whether it was a fault, an electrical arc, an incendiary device, or an explosive device that began to start a series of cascading failures. Other than that, all possibilities are on the table.
Separate and apart from the black boxes and the voice recorders, what else would you be looking for in terms of the investigation here to figure out whether it's just an accident or an intentional terrorist act?
Well, as with any aviation accident, the investigators will be talking to as many people as they can, trying to interview everyone who had anything to do with this flight, everyone who touched the airplane. And I should tell you that as aviation safety has become better, as aviation accidents have become more rare, their causes have actually become more unique. And so because aviation has done such a good job of reducing and eliminating what used to be many common causes of accidents, what we're left with are more black swan events. So I think they'll be looking in many different areas. And as aviation safety has gotten better, I think there has to be more focus on aviation security, whether or not this happens to be an intentional act or not. And for about 30 years, one of my biggest concerns is what would be called all the activities behind the scenes, in the back of the house, so to speak. The people who service and clean and cater the airplane. Sometimes those services are outsourced to third-party vendors where they have high turnover. So I think whether this is a terrorism event or not, a global experience tells us that we need to do a better job of looking at everybody who touches the airplane, including in this case.
All right, Sully Sullenberger, thanks so much for your expertise.